Thank you for joining me for what is the sixth and last in our series of AI masterclasses for finance leaders. The last one we're going to have today is on AR analytics, providing strategic insights and working capital improvements by using AI. Truly, how CFOs and other finance leaders such as yourself can use AI to predict cash flow, accelerate collections, and unlock that very necessary hidden working capital. So if you've never been on one of these, a little bit about myself. I'm Phyllis Saavedra. I lead the customer success team here at Imaja. I come with a background of 20 plus years as an order to cash practitioner in a variety of different industries. And now I'm bringing that experience back to Imaja to help others experience and get to best practices and help with finance transformation in the order to cash space. So again, thank you for joining us. A little bit about Imaja. Again, not to repeat myself, but I always like to say this is not a sales pitch, but just a little bit about Imaja so that you know, and it gives a little validity to what we're talking about today. Imaja itself has a number of marquee customers. We work in a space where we deal with a lot of global multinational companies in a variety of industries to really help them optimize and better their order to cash practices. Our mission, of course, is to maximize financial performance by driving efficiency and intelligence in finance operations. We really do this on a platform of artificial intelligence. I think that's what our true differentiator from competitors in the marketplace are. We've been recognized as a leader by many of the leading industry analyst firms, people like Gartner, Hackett, Forrester. We've been in business for over 15 years, run billions of receivables through our solution. This 27 languages is actually not accurate. It's 29 languages, as I learned yesterday, in over 70 countries. We have many industry affiliations with organizations and groups such as credit organizations like NACM, Dun & Bradstreet, other shared services groups, and a lot of international finance trade professions. Our technical partners are numerous. Most of the ERPs, the Oracles, the SAPs, NetSuite, Microsoft, and then, of course, a lot of the CRM providers, Salesforce and ServiceNow, et cetera, et cetera. We also have a lot of implementation partners and BPO partners out there. So should you desire more information, please hit me up for that. All right. So with that, today we're going to really explore how modern finance leaders are moving away from traditional backward-looking metrics, and now they're leveraging AI to really transform their accounts receivable and order to cash functions. We're going to go through a few things. The first thing that we'll go through is the new CFO mandate. We're going to next diagnose and look at why traditional AR analytics have fallen short for many of us. Then we're going to examine the evolution of AI-powered analytics. We'll take a quick look at 5 strategic AI use cases. And I think the use cases are really important because to me, I think in order for you to get something out of these master classes, you need some takeaways, right? You need something. It's like going to a trade show and you need to pick up a little goodie at the booth. Then we're going to look at an AI-driven working capital framework, and then what's the future going to look like? So with that, let's get started. So, in today's economic environment, CFOs are really facing unprecedented pressure, boost liquidity, and really to minimize DSO. Can't do this by increasing borrowing costs and things like that. So what we have is a fundamental disconnect in the process. We're trying to meet the modern liquidity demands by using backward reactive looking AR strategies. So in other words, the past has not caught up with the present and the future. So what we're going to talk about here is a little bit about the critical shift in perspective. I want you all to imagine if your AR portfolio could proactively tell you who's going to pay late, which invoices are going to be disputed, and where your cash is trapped. Wouldn't that be an amazing thing, right? So today, the whole problem is most accounts receivable teams rely on aging reports, static dashboards, and I should say, going back to the aging reports, some of those are still on Excel spreadsheets. They might not even be automated. Um, Static dashboards, it's a what's happening, what's happened up to today. We're analyzing still by using spreadsheets, and we're using historical performance metrics. So what these tools do for us is they'll tell us what happened, but they're not going to tell us what's going to happen next. And in order to really modernize and be proactive, that's the key. So when we look at the traditional AR metrics, we look at things like DSO, we look at aging buckets, meaning the delinquency, we look at a collection effective index, we look at bad debt ratios, and we track promises to pay in the system. These are still, AR is still AR, and these are still useful indicators, but they're not retrospective. The limitation that we're facing is that finance teams are spending more time identifying problems than solving them. If you look at your cash and your cash receipts, if you're looking at it as of today, it's already delayed. You're now having to backtrack. If you're looking at your credit and your customer risk, it's too late. That customer, you've already learned that customer is experiencing financial challenges. If you're looking at working capital metrics, the main components of your current assets and liabilities, by the time you're looking at it today, these things have already deteriorated and you're already behind. So it's important to think about AI and the future and how to get ahead of things. That's really the key. So when we look at the evolution to now AI native powered analytics, we look at how to solve this. And we need to look at the maturity curve of AR analytics, which really scales in 3 different levels. We move from the descriptive to the predictive to the autonomous. Now, descriptive analytics are going to tell us what happened. That's kind of what we've got today. Those are things like your aging reports, your collection reports, and your DSO dashboards. Still very necessary, but they don't get us ahead. Next level and level 2 is your predictive analytics. This is a great next phase. These analytics are going to tell us what is likely to happen. It's, if I have a crystal ball, I'm going to try and predict the future. We can use historical information to predict payment dates. We can predict customer payment behaviors that will help us with our forecasting. We can predict the probability and create scoring metrics around whether or not our customers are going to dispute an invoice. Historically speaking, has this customer frequently disputed quantity levels or invoicing, whatever it may be, we're able to predict that. We can also predict cash when it's going to be coming in. Now, where we really want to get to, and where the evolution of AI has really come to, and I'm hoping that you all are getting there, is to this component of autonomous analytics. Well, I know what's happened. I know what's likely to happen. And gee, what should I do now? How do I address this? And how do I address this proactively? Some examples of this in the order to cash space are collection prioritization, prioritizing your teams to go after the customers that you know historically pay slowly, going, prioritizing those accounts that might be financially challenged or operationally challenged, or that frequently dispute items. Um, Using AI to generate next best actions. Okay, I've done X and I've done Y. Now a recommendation on what Z should be. We can also utilize AI to help us with risk-based customer segmentation, segmenting your customers out into high, medium, and low risk, segmenting them out into certain regional bases or operational bases, using this to predict based upon all the things that we know about our customers. And then finally, collector workflows, automating those so that we are getting, I always like to use the term the most bang for your buck, right? So let's talk about a few strategic use cases that we can see with AR analytics and using agentic AI today, agentic and generative AI. Um, I think this is important because we want to give you something to take away. So the first use case is predictive payment behavior. What is AI going to do for us? It's going to take historical payment patterns. It's going to take customer behaviors. It's going to take industry trends. Many of you face seasonal fluctuations. Many people, if you're in consumer products, maybe it's around the holiday season towards the end of the year. Maybe you sell Halloween products. Maybe you have services for schools and products that go to schools. So you go around the school system in the school year. Whatever it may be, it's going to take all of those information. And, it's like putting together a stew, right? You're going to put all these things together, and the outcome of that is going to be it's going to predict payment timing, it's going to identify late payment risk, and it's going to give you the ability to prioritize your collection efforts. If you only have a limited amount of time or a limited amount of capacity, you really want to go after those accounts where you're going to get the most value from it. It's that old 80-20 rule, right? So what is the business impact you're going to get from predicting your customers' payment behavior? You're going to increase your collection times. You're going to reduce your DSO. You're also going to have better forecasting. And, the one thing that I like to say about predicting behavior, it gives you the opportunity to be very proactive. I would use, an example that I have from my, previous life as a practitioner. We had many customers that used to pay us, say they were net 30 accounts. Let's assume PO, right? The accounts are right. They're going to pay that invoice, but they have you in their system as a vendor on net 30. But don't trigger that payment until the 30th day. And what that means is it's going to hit your bank, best case scenario, maybe on the 32nd or third day. You want it right there on 30th day. If you are analyzing customer X and you can see that they're always paying 2 days late, it gives you the opportunity to work with the AP team, actually maybe try and get them to trigger your payment on the 28th day. Maybe not a major win, but certainly 2 days of DSO in many companies can add up to millions of dollars. Our second use case, intelligent collections prioritization. Traditional collections, every collector looks the same queue. Everybody is, you might work off of a spreadsheet or aging from your ERP system. And what I've seen in the teams that I've managed historically is sort by the top dollar. And every week they go back And they keep getting those same 10, 50, 100 accounts. They keep going back to the top dollar accounts. So if you prioritize this and you use AI prioritize this, AI will be able to predict and present where you have best cash opportunities, where you have the probability of payment, where risk is, what is strategically important to your business. The other thing that AI can do, and it's really not necessarily falling under this header of intelligent collection prioritization, but if you think about it and you automate it all with AI, the small dollars, you just automate those collections. You send out automated dunning to them. You send out, um, you know, your agent can send out emails. They can pay, they can dispute, and they can do everything online. And this will give you an opportunity for the collectors that you have to spend whatever time they have on your top priority accounts. You're still touching 100% of your base, but some of it, it's that hybrid workforce of some component of human in the loop. Save your collectors for their time for high priority and the real opportunities. What is the outcome? And cultures are able to focus on where they're going to make the highest impact to cash flow. And that is not always the top dollar. Let's keep in mind that sometimes it is a severely delinquent or a severely financially challenged customer. Moving on to use case 3, cash flow forecasting. My friends in FP&A, and certainly many of you that are CFOs that are on this call, cash forecasting is a major component of what AR presents to the business. When you're using AI can continuously evaluate your system. It's going to continually evaluate operation. It's not just a moment in time. It's going to consistently look at open invoices, payment trends, behavior, collection activities. It can pull in promises to pay, disputes, and it's truly going to give you a more accurate short-term cash forecast. And I think short-term is sort of a key here. Long-term cash flows, I know many FP&A teams forecast 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. I'm going to say in terms of AR, it's probably using AI may not get you there, but certainly like a system like ours, we do 13-week rolling cash forecast. 13 weeks, approximately 1 quarter. Yeah, really reasonable, really accurate, really helpful. The benefits of this, it's going to help with Treasury what the spend is, where they can invest, helping AP also know where they can spend money, where they can buy. It's also going to help understand borrowing, better liquidity management. It'll also reduce borrowing costs because you'll be able to be more strategic as a company and know when or if you need to borrow your receivables or borrow in general. Fourth case, working capital opportunities. Finding opportunities in your working capital are always a challenge. And, I believe most CFOs are always on the hunt for these type of opportunities. So what AI is used for in identifying hidden cash opportunities, maybe, like I said, maybe it is touching 100% of your receivables. I was talking to a customer of ours the other day, and they said they actually had receivables on their books that they had not touched for close to a year old. Now, if you're using AI and using automation to send out letters, who knows? Maybe you can bring in some of this money. Maybe somebody has never called them. Maybe somebody has never, reached out to this customer. I would say, in terms of additional cash opportunities, think about it on the front end of the business, using AI to analyze your credit risk customers and those that have not used up full credit limits. those that could have expanded credit lines, maybe you can make more sales. Maybe the order tab or AR team be drivers of revenue. There are plenty of ways to help find hidden cash in the business. I just talked a little bit about uncollected accounts. Yeah, old accounts, untouched accounts. AI is awesome for something like that. Stalled disputes. I've seen this. I think many of you have also seen this. Customer disputes an invoice. Say won't pay, even if it's a partial amount of the invoice. They hold the entire payment, and then it gets sold. Maybe you're waiting for somebody in your receiving team or your technology team to respond to a collector to learn more. You can report on, address, and analyze anything that may be stalled in the system and get it moving faster. And then, of course, we've talked a little bit previously about these high value delinquent invoices. Yeah, AI is obviously going to have you focusing on those kind of things. So what do you get, as a finance leader, what are you gaining your visibility into? Where is the fastest path to cash? You know, we have this AI tool at Amaja, I think is kind of cool. It's called Gia Alpha Cache. And I know there are other solutions perhaps similar in the business. But like we will break down what the 80-20 rule and pretty much tell people where folks their opportunities for best working capital. They are from an operational function really into a strategic working capital engine. And if you're a CFO, I think you'll learn the value in your order to cash team. If you're a leader in finance or in order to cash, I think that's where your CFO is going to see the value in you and your team. Finally, use case number 5, risk and exception analytics. Again, this is a really strategic indicator for the business. You can use AI to detect payment anomalies, credit deterioration, collections, bottlenecks, dispute patterns. We've talked a little bit about this. It's going to allow you the benefit of really earlier intervention in the process, minimizing the amount of write-offs to bad debt, and certainly better customer management. One of the things that I found by leading customer success here is businesses that are easy to do business with bring customers back. You address issues quickly. If you make it easy for your customer to dispute or pay or follow up on things, if you're not having to hammer them about past due invoices or find invoices, businesses that are easier to work with, your customers tend to come back and your customers tend to be a lot happier. So I think there are financial outcomes to this, but there are also the squishier benefits, I like to say, of customer service and customer success. Let's talk now about some of how to operationalize some of these capabilities and the framework that we rely on. There are really 4 levers that we look at for improving working capital. The first lever is accelerating collections. AI, and again, you heard this in some of the examples, AI is going to predict who to call, when to call, and how to engage with your customer. And when I talk about how to engage with your customer, one of the other really nifty benefits of AI is sentiment analysis. Using AI, you can actually, if you do automated calling or automated AI agentic engagement with your customers, AI has the capacity to come back and actually give you sentiment. Was the customer happy with the call? Was the customer unhappy with the call? You can use this to forward this information over to your customer service, your sales team, and really help them. Again, happy customers tend to pay more rapidly, and they tend to come back and do business with you again and again. The second lever for improving working capital is improving cash application. Now, it's not going to make more cash come in, which is what we really want, but it is going to help you drive matching of payments. You can use AI to better match payments, to tie your remittance advice to payments so that you have seamless cash application. You can use it to handle exceptions in payments. AI can do small dollar write-offs or analyze if somebody hasn't paid for tax or things like that. You can use AI to automate very quickly and easily over 90% of your cash application. If your cash is matched, number one, that gives customers more room on their credit limit to buy more. It makes your customers appear less delinquent. It also reduces the friction with your customers because no customer wants to get an email that says, I'm past due, when they're not past due and it was just you trying to match the payment. The third working capital improvement where we can utilize AI, again, is AI can identify and help to reduce disputes. Root cause analysis is one of my favorite tools out there. I've used root cause analysis in every new company I've joined. It will tell you why your customers aren't paying, and it will allow you go back and make those operational adjustments in your business and try and fix and remove the friction in payment for your customers. If you see that customers suddenly are short shipped from one specific distribution center, you know to go out to that distribution center and look at it. If you see that your customers are complaining that they never have a purchase order on their invoice and they can't pay without a purchase order, go to your order management team, try and drive that from the front. This allows you to proactively drive from the front of your business and be a real business operations leader. You can see recurring patterns, you can and prioritize the resolution of them. Finally, we talked a little bit about forecast accuracy. AI is a great one for ongoing continuous forecasting, giving you visibility into your cash, and really planning scenarios as a business. Order to cash, AR, is no longer an isolated member silo of the finance team. It's a driver and somebody that's really helping the business. So what does the future look like? When we talk about autonomous receivables, you'll hear many people talk about the year 2030 and what if. I have moved 2030 up to 2028, but I think what is the next generation of AR going to look like? And it's not just an automation of tasks. I think automation of tasks is table stakes. If you have not automated your dunning and your onboarding processes, I'm going to be the bearer of bad news. You're a little behind, but that should already be happening. AI, you need to be, and you hopefully will get to a place where AI is going to operate as an intelligent cash acceleration engine. It's going to monitor your receivables. You're going to utilize it to predict cash outcomes, use it to recommend actions, next best scenarios, help you to automate routine decisions, and bring about strategic opportunities within the business. It's going to allow you to be a driver of this. We've talked about this in some of our earlier classes. People that are worried about losing their roles because of AI, this is where you come in. This is where you become a keeper of the guardrails, a keeper of the information, a driver of business change. Open your mind to the future state where finance teams are going to spend less time processing transactions and they're going to spend more time driving the value that they bring to the enterprise. So a few closing thoughts today. like I said, AR is no longer just a collections function. It's a strategic working capital lever. AI analytics are going to help move finance from reactive to predictive decision making. And if you are an organization that is open-minded and adopt AR-driven analytics, I firmly believe, and I think, history will show us that it will help you improve your cash flow visibility. It will accelerate your collections. It's really going to optimize working capital and increase finance productivity. And like I said, make you a leader in your organization. One final thought. The question is no longer whether AI is going to transform AR. It's how quickly you can use AI to turn your receivables into sources of liquidity and growth. I'd like to thank everybody again for joining me today. If you need to get a hold of me or would like to get a hold of me, phyllis.saavedra@imagia.com, or you can always email our general mailbox, imagiainfo@imagia.com. Feel free to visit our website at imagia.com if you want to see any of the 5 previous master classes. And I want to thank everyone again for joining, and have a great day.